Hey y'all, it's Zoe and welcome back to another video on my channel. I just wanted to do a sit down video. I haven't done one of those in a while because I was watching a documentary today for class and it just started stirring up a lot of emotions. And you know me, I always love getting my emotions out on YouTube. It just helps me like talk through them and stuff like that. So that's basically what this video is going to be about. So the name of the documentary, I believe, is called Far East Deep South. It is free on Canopy if you're a college student. I don't know where else you can find it. It was a really, really good documentary. But personally for me, I related to it on such a personal level that I just wanted to talk about it. We had to discuss it in class and I came up with some discussion questions that I thought would be interesting to talk about, which I can share on here as well. But basically what the documentary was about was a Chinese American family who went back to Mississippi to explore their roots. The dad immigrated here from China with his grandma and did not grow up with a dad. I think his dad moved to the US and they never really heard from him or anything like that. And then he had two children and then they had children. So these two brothers went with their mom and their dad and a little girl, I think one of their brother's daughters, and they went to Mississippi and they found information about their dad's dad and then their dad's grandfather. And to me, it was so cool being able to watch this story unfold and see this father learn so much about his father and his grandfather, and to see the sons learn so much about their grandfather and their great grandfather, and see oh, I wasn't the first person born in America in our family. Our great grandfather was actually born in America, and oh, all these people in this town know my grandfather and my great grandfather, and they've worked with my grandfather, and they know my grandmother, and they recognize her from the Bound Feet, and the idea that they were just able to there's a museum that had stuff that belonged to the dad's father in a box in an archive, and there was his Bible. And so just being able to see the emotions on the dad's face, being able to visit the tombstone of his dad and being able to learn more about his dad because he doesn't know anything. But I think for me it just resonated a lot with me because one, I also didn't grow up with a dad. So him talking about I never grew up with a dad, there's a hole in that part of my life. And I think there was the part where he went to church and someone said Heavenly Father, and to him it was a moment where he was I don't know what a father figure is. I think one of the kids talked about when his daughter was born, he witnessed a grandchild interaction and relationship before that he had never experienced himself because he doesn't have a grandfather. So I just really resonated with that a lot, being able to not have a dad, and how that impacts you throughout your life, especially when you live in societies where it's the social norm to have two parents, to have a mom and a dad, and it's outside of the norm to have one parent or two of the same parent, two moms or two dads. I think that just really resonated with me, and the whole time that he was overcome with emotions of finding stuff out about his dad because he never knew about his dad. For me, I just felt a very personal connection to that because I don't have a dad. And the other main thing that was making me just really sad, I mean, I was happy, but I was also really sad, was this idea of being able to go back and look for your roots. I've talked on here quite a bit by now if you've been keeping up with me, but I tried looking for my birth parents, and I've talked before, I think on some of my medical videos, just about how I don't know anything about my family history, and it's hard for us to ever know anything about where we come from. We've taken DNA tests, but those can only say so much. So I think for me, just being able to watch this family go through the process of traveling to Mississippi, visiting all these places, visiting birthplaces, visiting museums, figuring out where stores were, finding information about their past from people who knew their family members, like in person, like sons of people who were friends with them or workers, like colleagues. Like I can't ever, I don't want to say I can't ever, but the chances of me ever experiencing something like that is so, so small. And I want that experience. Like, I want to be able to say, like, to go back to China and figure out where my family comes from. I mean, I know where I was born, I know where I was left, I know what orphanage I came from, but I don't really know anything about my history. And I want to know about my history, like, not just for the medical aspects, but just because it's who I am, it's part of my heritage, it's where I came from. Like, I want to know about my ancestors, and I can't. And so I think that was just really hitting me hard, was the fact that these people are lucky enough to go and find out where they came from. And the adoptees out there from China who have reunited with their birth families, they are so lucky to have done that. And I would say, like, some of it does stem from a little bit of jealousy that I can't do that as well, but also it's mainly just happiness and satisfaction. Like, I am happy that they are able to do that and that they have the privilege of being able to do that, because I know how much it means to people to know where you come from. And having that lack of origins was just really difficult for me during, like, while watching the documentary, just because I don't have that same privilege of, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna just travel to Mississippi where I can find out information about my family. Like, yes, I have ways to find out about my adoptive family. I know exactly where people live and I know where they come from, and I even have like a family tree. But in terms of my biological roots, I don't have any information. So just watching that was really difficult for me, because it made me think about what I'm missing out on and just re-emphasized the difficulties of being able to do that and being able to find someone. And I think it mainly just made me really sad, and it made me miss my family, miss my birth family, and made me miss my grandfather, both my grandfathers, because they passed away. And like, I haven't been able to have a grandfather figure in my life very recently, and I haven't had a father figure in my life at all. Not to say I would change anything that has happened in my life. Like, I would not be the person I am today if I did not have a single mother. I can guarantee you most of my personality today is because I was raised by one parent. But I think there are those moments where you miss out on certain things because you have one parent. I think, the theory of the alternate universes, like, there are alternate universes where I have probably, if I had two parents, like, I would probably be a different person right now. I may not even be in the school I'm in now. Like, I would have gone down such a different path, had such different life experiences. But I think it's just the fact that, like, there are so many people out there who take advantage of knowing your past and being able to find out information about your past. And there's so many people who don't have that same privilege and aren't able to get that same access. And it just made me think about a lot of things and made me just really sad that I'm not able to do the same thing, and I want to be able to do the same thing. So my hope is that at some point I will be able to do the same thing, even if it's the smallest little thing. I'm not asking to find a Bible by my birth mom, or like, find an obituary, but like, just being able to know something. And I think that's been the hardest part for me while watching this. And especially because the family was Chinese and I'm Chinese, that also just had that added factor of they're just like me. They come from the same country as me. They have the same background as me. And yet they have access to all this information that I don't have. So I know I was getting like really repetitive, but that's just something I wanted to like come on and talk about. I haven't done one of these like sit down videos in a while, and this like really moved something in me, and I felt like I really needed to just get it out and talk about it. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed listening to this. I recommend the documentary. I think it's a really cool documentary. If you are an adoptee, this is your trigger warning. I guess you might get some unresolved feelings be brought up. In fact, one of my discussion questions was actually like, what were some of the emotions you were feeling during this film? But I highly recommend this documentary. I think it's really cool. It teaches you a lot about like history and also just like finding your roots, and takes you through this experience with this Chinese American family. I think was really cool. So I will be on a service trip by the time this video is uploaded. I'm getting ready to go on spring break next week, so I won't see any comments or anything on this video until I get back from the service trip next Friday. So I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!